Hi, this is Darren Fink, and I am the co-founder and program director of Transfiguring Adoption. And today I'm making this video to show our volunteers that are helping us out with graphic design for our various areas of our website, specifically for our media reviews, how to go ahead and create those images so that we can put them on our website. And so this is intended for our volunteers doing graphics with our media reviewers. However, there might be some other people, since this is out in the internet world, there might be other people watching it that are just looking for how to create images that will fit their blogs or their social media nicely, and hopefully this can help you as well. But as we go into here, let's go ahead and start looking here. You can see that I am on our, probably this is a dated version of our website by now, as we are looking currently to update our website, but I want to show you just some things so that you understand what we're looking at here. So in here, I have one of the book reviews that we have on our website currently, and you can see up here at the top here, we have an image. It says The Adventures of Beagle, the Unimaginary Friend. It's a book review. And this is going to be one of the images that we're going to have to populate, as is this one all the way down at the bottom, which is a square image. There are a couple more images that we will have to populate, but I will get into that. So without further ado, why don't I go ahead and get it, let's see here. Get my Illustrator popped up here. So I am working in Adobe Illustrator, and if you are volunteer with us doing graphics, I've probably already shared these templates with you. If I have not, let me know. Just contact your higher up in Transfiguring Adoption and we can get a templates shared to you so that you have some of this stuff already. But let's take a look at our template here. I have, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different templates on here. And the one we're going to be spending some time with here at the beginning here is right here. And that was that first image, the size for that first image that I showed you, it was all the way at the top of the blog. And that's going to be our header, but for the purposes of identifying this and for labeling it, I am going to be calling it our rectangle image. The reason I do that is because we don't only use it for our headers, but we're also going to use it, it pairs nicely so that we can set it to work on Facebook as well. When we're sharing the link to Facebook, this is the image that will populate for Facebook posts. Of course, I'm working in Adobe Illustrator 2019, so you can imagine if you are watching this after 2019, of course, watch for software updates and variances. There also might be, not only within Illustrator, but there might be differences with social media, dimensions, and different things like that. So please be aware of that. But the overall process hopefully will still be the same and be useful for you. You can also see over here that I have various images. We use these images that are over to the left. I have some game tokens, some popcorn, and some coffee. We try to uniform the background for our reviews that we use so that our viewers know visually what we are doing. So for our game tokens here, those are always used for our children's book reviews. The popcorn is used for movie reviews, and the coffee is used for book reviews for grown-ups. The only one that we don't have on here quite yet, because we're just now getting the process set up, is our a background for our video game reviews. That will be added to this template eventually, but it isn't at this point in time. Some other things that we have on here are, of course, our logo, which I ask that you pay attention and make sure that it is the correct logo. Let me zoom in here real far. You will see that this one, it does have a trademark symbol. We are a trademarked logo now, so anytime that you use anything and it has been approved graphics for Transfiguring Adoption, it needs to have that trademark on there. Another logo that you may or may not be using is one for our sister website called Adoption at the Movies, which you may or may not be using in your graphics. It's there in case you may have to. The last thing that I'll show you are the fonts that we're using and how to set those up. So we have, well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't I go back here? Let's take a look at our template here. We have this rectangle template, and I'm going to take my background, I'm going to go ahead and pull it over onto here, and what I want to do is make sure that it overlaps a little bit, or at least covers this whole rectangle completely, because there's nothing worse than saving an image and then you have white space or something left out. We want that to go fill up this space just enough so that the game tokens are completely covered throughout the template there, the frame. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and take a look at my wording and my fonts. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put together a book review for a fictitious, for one that we've never done before. Let's call it The Happy Bunny. So if we're going to do a book review for The Happy Bunny, let's take a look at this. You can see we have the word the up here. If I have any articles, an, or the, I have a font called Luminary. You can see it up at the top here. I believe that I pulled these off of dafont, dafont.com, which is a free font sharing website. So that's what I use for our secondary fonts. So these aren't the main important fonts. This is a lesser secondary font that we can use if we want to change up the fonts and make things a little bit more interesting. Okay, so Luminary. The other one that I will use on our reviews is Times New Roman, and this is bold. It's bolded. And I will use that at the bottom of every book, movie, and video game review we do. And we're going to, so if this is a movie review, obviously I'd put movie, video game, video game. I think that's self-explanatory, but there it is anyways. And that's always going to be in Times New Roman bold. Okay. If there are any articles or lesser wording, those are going to get put in the Luminary. Our main words, and I try to limit those so that we can have them, it's the wording in the title that really pops. So for The Happy Bunny, obviously we're going to have Happy Bunny. And let's take a look at these fonts here. The first letter of every word is in a font called Parata 1. You can see up there at the top. Okay, and all of the subsequent words are in something called Harry P. Okay, so the only time you will see, let's take a look here. We're going to go ahead and type this out. I want to show you guys how this really, the Harry P font makes some funky letters sometimes. You can see there, let me move this over a little bit. You can see the P, and the P's have lightning bolts on them, and the Y has kind of a weird swoosh on it. Okay. When that happens, that's specifically going to happen, I believe, for lightning bolts, you can obviously tell, but also odd-looking letters like the Y or an F. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight all of those, and we're going to put those in the Parata 1. So that those are a little bit easier to read, and they just don't look so awkward. Okay. All right, so we have the happy, and now we're going to go ahead and put in bunny. Okay, again, the Y, awkward. So we're going to change it to Parata 1. Okay, and that is what it should look like here. Okay, I'm going to put this a little bit closer together. And all the time when I have something at the top, an article or some such secondary word, we don't ever put it all the way over here unless we absolutely have to. More than likely what we do is, you see how there's this space right here. There's kind of a little space that's being made by the H being so much bigger than the A. We're going to add our article right in there. So it's just kind of nested in there and just looks kind of nice. The same thing with the book review. We're going to put that over on the right side, and we're going to nest it nicely over here on the left. Now if this was, let's say this was another N, I don't know why, we're going to nest that over here, over on the right. Okay? Right now we have the Happy Bunny. It looks pretty good here. Everything's nested nicely with the secondary and words, and so everything looks good and looks ready to go. That's the way we want it. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of that because if you've noticed in the wording and everything that we do, it usually has like this nice sticker or border effect around the edges. Okay, so we need to add that so it really makes the wording pop. And let me show you here, because if we put this on the background, it's really hard to read. No matter what color we make that thing, it's going to be really hard to read that. We want it to stand out and be one of the main things that you see. So what I'm going to do is I have all the words selected. I'm on my Mac. I'm going to hold down Command, Option, Shift. Oops. Let me see here. Oh, it's not doing it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hold down Command and Option, and I am going to get I'm going to get these double arrows when I go over the words. You see that? There are 2 arrows there. I'm also going to hold down the Shift key. Whoops. And that just unselected it. Haha, not going the way I wanted it. Okay, I'm going to do Command, Option. I'm going to start dragging down, and then I'm going to hold my Shift key. The reason I'm holding my Shift key after I started dragging is that way I can drag in a straight line or in a 45-degree angle line, and things aren't able to go all over the place. I'm able to go straight down. Okay? All right, release, and we have a nice copy right there, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted the copy of the wording exactly the way it was above. Now I'm going to go over here to my palette over on the left toolbar here, and I'm going to select the default fill and stroke, which is going to make a white fill and a black stroke. I'm going to take the fill, and I'm going to select it to none. I'm going to hit on the stroke, which is our black stroke. I'm going to go over here to the colors, the RGB palette. I'm going to take everything down to 0 so it's a true black. And then I'm going to go up here to stroke, select round join so that everything has nice rounded edges. And I'm going to go up to the weight, and I'm going to select 40. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for some good weight here so there aren't any holes in the middle here. If there are any holes made, I would actually go in and fill them in and make sure that it's just a nice, complete black background. Okay, now that we have that looking good, we're going to go up to Object. We're going to expand. And this is going to change it from text to lines. So we have nice lines here now, and it's no longer text. Okay? Okay, we're going to go up to expand one more time, and that just made everything objects now, where everything has a nice line around the objects. So we're not just dealing with lines, we're dealing with these nice objects with black fill in the middle. Okay? So I'm going to go over here to my Pathfinder, and I want to take all these paths that I just created, and I want to unite them so they become all one image. Okay? Fantastic. Now you can see down in here, I'm going to zoom in, I do have some holes in here where the paths didn't quite connect anywhere. I am going to take my pen tool over here. I'm going to go draw a random image covering up all those holes. I am going to go over to my selection tool. This has already been selected since I was drawing it. I'm going to select that big image, the big wording image that I had. I hit Shift and then Select, so now they're both selected. I'm going to go back over to Unite. And that just added that weird circular object that I just made into the mix and covered up all the holes. All right, now that I have this nice black image, I'm going to take my selection tool, start dragging up, hold down the Shift key while I'm dragging up, and put it nicely, evenly over top of this. I'm now, since it's on top of my wording, I don't want it there, I'm going to hit Command, Shift, open bracket, and that's going to send it to the back. All I did was send the black shape to the back so that my wording is on top now. And you can see that I have like this nice sticker effect now where I have a nice black border all the way around my wording. Okay, I'm going to select all of that, group it together, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on top of here just so I can see how it works with everything. And you can see that I can pretty easily read the text now amidst this busy background, and it really stands out. Okay. All right, the next thing that we need to do is we need to get the cover of the book that we're reviewing, or it might be the cover of the video or the video game that we're reviewing. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go over to my web browser here. Okay, I'm going to head over to Google, and we're going to type in the Happy Bunny book. Let's see what we find here. Okay. The Happy Bunny book series. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I was just doing, for our movie reviewer, or book reviewers, I just pulled this one out. So it isn't quite the same thing, but we were talking about the adventures of Happy Bunny. So let's go ahead. That's on Amazon. We're going to go ahead and pull that image up. Now this is the cover image. It's the image that the author and the publisher is using. We're going to pull that over into here. Okay. And we are going to scale it. And I'm going to choose my text. I'm going to hit Command-Shift, close bracket to bring this to the front. Okay. All right. And I always try to keep the book covers or the covers of the games or movies, I try to keep that all on the left side. I am going to rotate with the selection tool, hitting the corner of the book cover. I am going to make that just a little cockeyed, just to add a little interest to the image. And then I'm going to take a look and just see how I can get this to fit nicely, the wording and the book image. The book image isn't as important. I just want people to get an idea of what the book cover looks like so that if they happen to be in their local bookshop and happen to see this cover, that they'll remember that they read a review on it or saw a review. I just want them to make a connection. So if I am covering up some of, let's say, for example, if I was covering up some of the title, that's fine. The title's right here. Even though, again, we're pretending the titles don't match up. I understand that. We're pretending this is the Happy Bunny. So it doesn't matter if this is covering up a little bit. Again, I just need people to get an idea and have a good understanding of what visually that book cover looks like, so that if they're in a bookstore, they can connect our book review and the book together so that they can hopefully purchase it and it helps their family. All right, so if at all possible, what I love to do is have the cover of the media over on the upper left side. I like to have the wording over on the right side. And then I'm going to take our logo and I'm going to put that in a corner. Whichever corner is going to look good. And since there's nothing over in the upper right-hand corner, that corner could definitely take that and have some good space. Now, the review that I showed you earlier, let's see if I can find that over here. Let's go back over to here. The one for The Adventures of Beagle. One thing that I will say that I don't like is the logo is just too darn big here. Our logo should be visible, it should be readable, but it should just get noticed. It should just be there and not necessarily a focal point. So I do want people to know that Transfiguring Adoption is responsible for this book review, but I don't want it to be the main focus of anything. Same thing with the book cover. I don't necessarily want it to be the main focus. What I want people to get out of this is that we did a book review and the title of the book, okay? All right, so we have this together. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to save this before moving on. We're going to go over into File, and we're going to export, we're going to save for web, because that's where we're going to be using all of these images. It's just for the web, okay? So we're going to save that, and this gives you a nice preview so you can see if you had things moved over too much, there might be a white line here because you left some background visible. So this gives you an idea and lets you see what things are going to look like before you send them on to our editor or our proofer to have them look at everything together. We do want to save things in a PNG. It's not necessarily that this is transparent because we have everything filled, so there's no background showing through it all. So you shouldn't have use for a transparency. Okay, if I'm satisfied with this, I'm going to hit save, and this is going to pop up what I want to save it as. Okay, so what I want to save it as is straightforward. I want to name it the title, and every time there's a space, I'm going to add a hyphen. So we're going to have the Happy Bunny, the Happy hyphen, Bunny hyphen, and then I want to add the book's author. So we're going to pretend it's me. So we're going to put Darren Fink hyphen, and then we are going to put book review. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and then we're going to add another hyphen. At the end of that, we're going to put Transfiguring Adoption. Okay. And then I'm going to add a hyphen. And then here's what I'm going to do, because we are going to be saving several versions of this image just in different formats. Okay. I'm going to, on my computer, on my MacBook, I'm going to hit Command A. whatever you have to do to select all. I know on the Mac it's Command A, and we're going to select all, and then I'm going to hit Command C to copy that. Because we're going to be, for all the images, we're going to be calling it the exact same thing, except at the end now, since I said this was my rectangle image, I'm going to call it rectangle. That way I can look back later and I know what format this is. I always add the format. Whatever I named the format, I add that to the end so I can look at that and know what format it is. Okay, I'm going to save this to my desktop. So I'm going to hit save. Okay, and it saved it and it's ready to be used for later. And we will be discussing how to upload these to the back end of our website and use them later. But in this video, we're just going to talk about how to make them. Okay. Let's go ahead and go over to our square image here. Everything's going to be a lot the same. We're just going to be pulling things over and copying them, really. So I have my selection tool. I'm going to hold down my Command and Option key, and I have my double arrows again. Okay, I'm going to try to put that over, match that up as close as I can with overlapping a little bit with that frame over there. And then I'm going to take my selection tool. I'm going to resize this a little bit so that it's just tall enough. I'm going to move this over. Okay. So I have a smaller background image that is overlapping with this one, and everything's filled up. Looks good. I'm going to pull my words over here, and I'm going to have them. I'm going to resize it so that it fills up a good part of the width. And I'm going to put it up a little bit. A lot of times in the square images, I like to have the words toward the center. I'm going to pull the book cover over. We're going to add that, again, keeping it to the top left as much as possible. I'm going to resize that so that it suits this as much as possible. Okay. All right. And then I need to pull our logo over here. I have some tricky. I think I'm going to bump this up a little bit. And I am going to add it right in the corner. The logo, again, needs to be put in the corner. In one of the corners. Okay, fantastic. And so that looks pretty good. You might disagree with me where I place things. That's fine. Again, I'll let the editors and proofers deal with the placement as far as if they like the overall look. But that is how I would set up the square. And then let's take a look at these two templates over here. Here, this template is where this one I call a square, and we put that in at the bottom. Let's see, let's go back over here. We have this all the way at the bottom. And this goes at the bottom in case people want to pin things to Pinterest or they need a square graphic for anything on social media or different places they're sharing this to. So we like to have a square graphic at the bottom of every blog. This image here we use for we'll have it on a dedicated page with a lot of book reviews or a lot of movie or video game reviews. It just gives it a thinner, just an oversized button look so people can go through quickly. They can see an image of the book review and they can click on this banner if they want to go to the book review. So this is going to be probably used on a separate page. They're really good for using an email headers. Woo, I'm getting tongue-tied, guys. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull everything over. I'll resize if I have to. And again, I try to keep the text. The text does need to fit in, but I try to keep the text as large as possible just so people have an easier time reading. Okay, and I'm going to move this over. And I know that it's going outside, but I don't, again, I just want people to be aware of the book cover so that they can make that correlation if they go to the bookstore. It doesn't have to be the complete. We didn't create the book. We just want to connect people to the book. We want to connect. What we really want people to do is read our book review and be aware of our book review. Okay, so that's pretty good. Again, everything's over here on the left side with the book. This is in the center. And we have this in the corner. So that looks good. The other template that I'm not going to go through right now is we use this for a web banner. So if we want people to go to the Happy Bunny, let's say that this thing has just gone blockbuster and it's all over the place and people are talking about it here, there, and everywhere. We want to put this on our front web page and we want to tell people to go to it. So usually with these, it'll be a little bit smaller. You're going to follow all the same rules. I might take this wording apart and I might make it so that everything runs horizontal instead of stacked like this. And I might also add a button on there that says click here to read, or it gives some sort of a button with an action to it. Okay, but that might be few and far between. Your higher up from Transfiguring Adoption will let you know if they need that or not, more than likely. Let's go ahead. Oh, the other template that we don't have on here, because we're in process of switching over to this, is our reviewers are going to be asked to make discussion guide packets, and those are going to be in a PDF format as well as on a website. So it's almost going to be like an ebook format and also on more of a website blog. They are going to need covers and back covers, so we will have an 8.5 by 11 template on here. That will be another thing. So for the Happy Bunny, I would have to actually make an 8.5 by 11 cover page that says the Happy Bunny book review. And yeah, hopefully you've gotten all these templates. Again, if you haven't, ask your higher up in Transfiguring Adoption. And something you also probably need to do too is be checking Google and different places like that to make sure that the pixel dimensions are correct, since things change so much in the internet world, especially for social media and different things. We always need to be checking to make sure that our images are the correct sizes. Otherwise, if they aren't the correct sizes, they're not going to load up correctly on social media, and people just won't read things that don't look like they've been professionally done. Okay, one thing that we haven't done is I haven't saved any of these in a while to show you about that. I'm going to click on the text here so that the program knows I'm working with the square template. I'm going to go back up here, and I am going to, let's see here, go over to export. I'm going to go save for web. Okay, and there's my preview again, and that looks pretty good. Everything looks great. I don't see any white background showing through. It's in a PNG format. Everything looks great. We're going to go ahead and save that. And again, I remember I copied the last time that we did this, so I saved it as the Happy Bunny, Darren Fink, book review, da 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 da. This is now not our rectangle format, it is our square format. So I'm going to put square. It's already saving to the desktop, so I'm going to save. Then I'm going to go over here, select the text over here so it knows I'm working with that format. I'm going to go to File, Export, Save for Web, check my preview out. This is also the time too when you're checking your preview to check your spelling. There's nothing worse than if you have to go back. Your editor or the proofer says, hey, this is misspelled, and you're going to have to go back, especially if you didn't save the AI file and you have to recreate the whole thing. So make sure that you are checking your spelling here. I can tell you from firsthand experience, this is not fun if you have to redo that. I'm going to paste that in again. Okay, and we usually call this our header format because we use it for the headers of emails. And also we use it it just works nice as a header, but we also use it as oversized buttons for websites so people can go straight to the review. But anyways, we're going to call that the header. I'm going to save, and it's going to go into there. And that's it, you guys. I've just now created probably 3 out of the 5 formats that I would need. And as you get faster at this and do this a lot more, it's going to get a lot faster. It's going to be really quick. Because essentially all you're doing is following these templates. You have the same background image for the various reviews. So as long as you know what review it is, if it's a video game, grown-up book, or movie or whatnot, and then you're just going to be grabbing the artwork of the cover from a site like Amazon or some such thing, and then just putting the text on there. It should move pretty fast once you start getting to know it. If you have any questions about this and you are a volunteer doing graphics for Transfiguring Adoption, please feel free to ask whoever is in charge of your project what you need to do or your question, or ask for clarification. If you are not with Transfiguring Adoption, you're just watching this video just to get some ideas of how to make images and format things for your own blog or website. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@transfiguringadoption.com. I hope this video is helping you out. In a later video, we're going to now take these images that we've saved and we are going to upload them to the back end of our website and place them in the blog that we have. So I'll see you there.